Food question. You're on a road trip. You know, you're doing something where you're going from point A to point B.
Okay.
You got to go to a gas station, and you're hungry and thirsty. You have 3 items.
Whoa. Ooh.
What are you grabbing
right.
said gas station?
It's just like survival.
This is like always different for me too.
I know it changes depending on like the mood I'm in.
Yeah, what kind of car am I driving?
What's the trip? Wait, what? Where am I
You're
coming
in a Hummer
from?
H3.
Am I
Oh, let's get stacked up. By that gas station, you meant Sam's Club, right?
Gas station.
Ah,
Talking BP, Shell.
okay.
All the standard stuff's in there, though. You know what I mean? Like all the
How
variety,
long
all
do
the
we
different
have? Do I need to worry about
variations.
like?
A time crunch.
Yeah.
Are the people waiting in the car?
Honestly, you've
3 items that are close together.
honestly, I'm gonna set the situation here. You're on a road trip with your family
Okay.
from Cincinnati
Oh.
to Fort Lauderdale,
My family, God, give me a beer.
True.
and you know you're not gonna stop for another 5-6 hours. Mom and Dad didn't even have to use the restroom, so they're in the car mad. You've got a $10 bill in your hand, and you run into that gas
Oh my
station.
gosh! Now
Oh,
there's
you
a
put a
money
price on
crunch?
okay.
I don't want that. I don't want that as a rule. Get
No,
that out.
yeah.
Look,
Right,
they
tell us
say
what you-
here's the
you're gonna
card. You
spend.
get 3 things.
Okay,
getting, like,
card.
$30.
Back. See, we're back.
I've asked the question as a $10 limit before if you wanted to get crap.
No, I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna
3
do that.
things.
Okay, 3 things. Gas food. Fast food.
Gas food.
I'm gonna need a drink,
True.
so I need an Arizona tea.
Classic.
Tall boy.
What
I need
kind?
that one.
Only.
What kind?
Ginseng honey, the one that we got, homie.
I'm just making sure. You can
Yeah.
be an old-fashioned guy. You could be
Nah.
a berry lemonade.
I
you
ain't no
could-
Arnold Palmer kind of guy.
All right.
Give me
Ooh,
the ginseng
definitely
honey
ginseng.
sweet tea.
Okay, so
I
you
want
got the drink
that.
down.
Oh yeah, gotta drink something. So we're doing that. If we're going big, oh dude, pint of beef jerky, easy, dude.
They sell those.
Oh yeah, gas.
Pint?
How big? What's a pint of beef jerky?
I
Look
don't
like?
know, a big bag, whatever the big bag
Isn't a
is.
pint of ice cream like this?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of
I
jerky.
want a big boy.
and that's
bag.
like $28.
That's
You're
why there's
really-
no.
You're over budget.
That's why there's no $10 limit. I saw that coming.
He already knew.
Stop
The
it right
audible
there.
And then,
bring it right to the beef jerky.
I don't know. I mean, you know, honestly, I want to say like something like sunflower seeds, but that's a lot of sodium.
Are we being health conscious?
A lot of salt. I don't think sunflower seeds have sodium. I think that's salt. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Did you just say you think salt has
Yeah.
It does.
No, sunflower seeds.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Jamie, can we pull that up real quick?
Yeah,
Jamie.
Jimbo. What's the ruling on sodium and salt?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Oh, screw off. I'm gonna go with that. That's my answer.
Okay.
Wow.
Beef jerky.
Yeah.
3
Arizona.
servings.
Julene?
in
I'm ready.
Arizona.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna really disappoint you. I don't know if you know this about me, but I really like the Arnold Palmer
What the?
ones. Yeah, that used to be
So
my drink
hard.
Oh,
like in high school. So that
That's a direct attack.
a good trail mix with like a really good ratio. Probably no raisins, cranberries if they have it.
What's the
trail
best
mix
thing?
is a big one because
Yeah.
that's a hearty.
It's hearty,
station
but it's like a
snack.
fun sweet thing too. and
You
you're
can
like,
kind of pick
okay,
and
no big deal.
choose.
Yeah,
if you're the
it's
person that
oh my
divides
God.
up
Yeah.
the little
You get
different
it.
ingredients.
We have to custom make Julene's trail mix.
Yeah. We put banana chips and chocolate in it. Teeny Julie.
I bought a chocolate bar just to put
He,
in a
like,
trail
broke
mix
it.
the other day.
Sorry, I need that little sweet.
Oh.
And then what's my third one? This is gonna be weird, but probably gum because I really
What?
like gum on road trips. I don't usually chew gum that much, but like on road trips, I need something to do.
That's
And
so
so
You are
gum.
flipping Kyle's world upside
I
down.
know.
I know this is like road trip, Julene.
That's a great
You don't know
answer.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, Will. All
Okay.
eyes on you.
Have you ever been to like convenience stores, gas stations where you could like make milkshakes?
Like
Ooh.
like
Like
the,
a DQ?
the what's the one
I don't
called?
know if I've ever.
Like a blizzard?
No, but like you literally just like you do it
Like
yourself.
UDF?
Oh,
Oh,
like
no.
Speedway, like a Speedy Freeze.
No,
But with a
It's
smoothie?
like- it's like ice cream.
I've only
okay.
ever seen the ices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
feel
Yeah,
like
I
that's
know.
the
It's hard to
standard.
They have
differentiate.
ice cream
Some, if
ones?
they don't have that, yeah. Back home, like every gas station
never
does.
seen
You,
it.
you can
That's
like
cool.
make milk.
That is
milkshakes.
awesome.
Yeah. So I do that. If they don't have that, I understand. So I'd probably say,
Walks
well,
out.
my drink then would be, well, I played sports in high school, so I'd say Gatorade.
Mm.
I really like Gatorade.
Ooh,
Classic.
what kind?
What,
What kind?
yeah,
We have the
what
same kind, I
What
think.
kind? Ice blue kind of guy.
I think you're
I like the ice kind or the rain.
I can always tell.
You
I
ever
can
had-
always
you
tell
ever
a
had the rain?
Gatorade. Yes.
Rain's good.
You can always tell a
Yes.
good rain guy.
Yes.
I always tell her Gatorade.
Yeah.
I'm really good at guessing what people's favorite Gatorades
Those glacier
are.
freezes are good. Oh yeah.
Good party trick.
And then I'd probably do like a Chex Mix.
Ooh.
That's classic.
Something
Game
like,
changer.
and then if I do one more thing, I'd do something like kind of less healthier. So like maybe depends what I'm feeling. Sometimes I'm a flaming hot kind of guy.
Because you're really dieting with that
Yeah,
with that
like
ice cream.
Gatorade and plain Chex Mix. So I'd probably say like like Doritos or something.
Classic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Big bag.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Tommy, what about you, Chief?
Oh man.
You got the question, but give us the answer.
Do you answer the same every time, or does it change?
I was gonna say that was my first point.
Okay.
You could ask me this tomorrow, the day after that. I'm probably just gonna have a different answer.
Okay.
But
Tonight.
tonight, because I just closed my eyes, I'm in the gas station. Boom. Well,
Boom.
what am I grabbing?
I don't know.
It's hard not to grab an Arnold Palmer, but I've been on a kick of the old-fashioned sweet tea.
The sweet teas are so good.
Yeah.
So sugary, but like, if I'm on a road trip, like
Yeah.
it's all systems
I was gonna say
go
sweet
on
tea.
junk food.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab the old-fashioned and just bang for your buck. Kyle's over here spending $20 on beef jerky. I'm spending 89 cents on on a whole liter of old-fashioned sweet
Yeah.
tea.
Hey, if I'm going on a road trip, I'm balling out.
Boosh.
Strictly beef jerky.
$50.
Nothing else to
Beef
drink.
jerky diet. And then I'd probably go to the chip aisle, grab some. They're like the cheese coney Fritos. You know what I'm
What?
talking about? It's like
Yeah.
the chili mix.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
The chili
exact-
Are
cheese
they like
ones.
the twirly ones?
No, those are different kind.
Those
I
are
know what
good,
you're
though.
talking about though.
Yeah, those are like honey barbecue.
Yeah,
or
okay.
something.
I don't know what you're talking
I know what
about.
you're talking about. The
So I'm
chili
grabbing
cheese.
it tastes like a bite of like a Skyline coney.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's cool.
And then I'd flip over to the candy aisle and get. I like really
Hop,
weird
skip, and a
candies.
jump over there.
Like I'll get like candy corn in like July. It just sounds good. Or like
Solid.
and my third answer is gonna be the peach rings.
Mm.
Peach
Whoa.
rings.
Those are good.
I've never actually had those.
Really?
Dark horse candy.
I used to be a
Peach
big
ring.
almond joy kind of guy.
Really? You strike me as an almond joy kind of guy. I don't know why.
This is Homie Academy. Welcome. Have you listened to any of them?
All of them that are out. There's only 3 out.
Whoa!
Wow, we've got a
yeah.
fan.
We got a fan.
I mean, I'm a homie.
He's a,
Yeah,
he's a
first.
learner.
He's
I'm
a
a homie
learner.
Yeah.
I think
See,
you.
I listen enough. I get that reference.
All the inside jokes.
Graf,
No big deal.
Graf and Tessa might have listened to all of them, but you're the first one that we've confirmed that you've listened to all of them so far. So
Cool.
welcome.
Thank you.
This
Appreciate
is
you having me
China
out.
Tommy, by the way.
China Tommy.
China
Tommy.
Tommy that and nothing else this whole time.
'Kay.
Please.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So I met China Tommy in China.
You don't
It was a good
say.
time. Yeah, you don't say. Yeah, it was a good time.
Oh.
And that was our introduction, dude.
Can I ask the first question?
Of course.
Okay, I know you the least. So can
Okay.
you like introduce yourself and like what you do and like
yeah,
who you
yeah,
are?
for sure.
No, he was born at China.
Yeah,
At
I'm
China.
China Tommy. Follow me on Instagram at China Tommy. No, I'm just kidding.
Please change your handle to that.
I'm Tom, Tommy, Thomas. Either 3 works for me, so you
Okay.
pick your favorite.
Okay.
Refer to
Many
me as
names.
such, but lived in Ohio most of my whole life. Bounced between a couple of different cities there, and just hanging out right now, looking for full-time job.
Cool.
Graduating in May, trying to see what's going on, what's the next big step, and just at that point, man, it's weird. Just so busy. These last couple of years have been flying by.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
you know how it is, though.
Yeah,
For real.
gotta soak up the sun, man. That actually,
Sorry. I thought that was like a cue for everybody to
no,
say.
actually,
I was ready.
China Tommy just told me something today that ties in a question that he has for you. That is that he just got a job offer.
From where?
a company called something, and
Okay.
it is in potentially the Los Angeles area,
Oh, cool. Sweet.
which I hear you're from.
I'm from.
Not L.A. You're from
Wow,
Simi
they
Valley.
told you the truth.
Thank you for
You're from
clarification.
Simi Valley.
Yeah,
Got a
I
homie
am.
over there.
Real
A
bro
true
Simi Valley.
homie.
Yep. And I was my question was about the area, but the first thing that came to mind, especially listening to the last podcast,
Yeah.
was, have you seen The Real Bros of Simi Valley?
I have, yeah.
Because that's all I know about Simi
Okay.
Valley.
Will
I've-
watches it too.
Will's a diehard, and like I've watched him. They're extremely accurate to the point of where like Simi Valley was like begging, like the teens of Simi Valley were like begging them to do more because it's just so funny. Because like it's literally the like weirdest town. It's like not great. There's like nothing to do, but it like and so it had no attention ever until this, and now everyone's like, this is so great.
Real bros.
Yeah, it's super accurate. Best Mexican food in all of anywhere. Yeah, lots of skater boys. Skate Lab
Gotcha.
is a big place. Yeah, so that's that.
Is there anyone in particular that's like a common name that's from Simi Valley that you know of?
That's from like famous people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Shailene Woodley, who is in The Fault in Our Stars and like a lot of other stuff is from Simi. Just like a few random like actors and actresses. I'm blanking right now. Oh, there's a few Broadway people.
Did you say Ronald Reagan's from there?
Yeah, Ronald Reagan and
There
his.
you go.
My choir sang at his wife's memorial service, which was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. There's some people out of Simi. There's a lot of good like, not famous yet, but like a lot of bands and artists coming out of Simi that are really well and like starting to do bigger things. So that's
Right.
cool. It's a pretty like musical town, even though there's nothing to do. But like there's a performing arts high school, so there's
It'll
a lot of
attract
that.
some
Yeah,
those people,
yeah,
that's for sure.
yeah.
So you were born there and you made your way to Ohio, right?
Yes.
So my question would be
Trek.
someone in the opposite shoes, being from Ohio, making their way out west.
Yeah.
You know, what would be like the biggest like learning curve or like any difficulties with
mean,
doing that?
People aren't as nice, and there's really bad traffic, but the weather's really great.
Right.
And
Just kind of a give and take. from
and
what I
like
hear.
it's so superficial that it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, but like it's not like Ohio.
Yo.
It's
yeah.
like drastically like I don't think I was talking with someone about this today. When I came here, I wasn't thinking about like it's gonna be really different like culturally. That wasn't like on my mind. And then I got here and I was like, whoa, this is really different culturally.
Right.
So yeah, people just are. It's very like everything people do is for themselves and the betterment of themselves, which is great. But it's a lot of like not niceness.
I
We
feel
need some
that.
more community building, man.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
I'll drink to
I'll drink
that.
to that.
But yeah, I kind of agree with Julene just from what I've seen out there, and like people are flaky out there, man.
That's what I've heard. I mean, I have family in San Diego. And
Okay.
I've been there
That's such a better area
about
though.
a dozen times.
Yeah.
And I've been up to LA and I was like, it's a lot different than
Yeah,
San Diego.
San Diego's it's just beach people.
It seems like
Surfer
all the
dudes.
cool, like all the people that were like too chill for LA just settled in San
yeah,
Diego.
totally. That's
funny.
about right. Either there or they go up to the Bay Area.
Yeah. Ayo.
Ew.
Did you learn how to surf in San Diego?
I did not.
Homie.
First time I
That's
surfed,
unfortunate.
and my cousins will probably kill me for that, but the first time I surfed was in Puerto Rico,
Oh, okay.
which was a crazy time. But
Yeah, that's not that bad.
yeah, I tried it once and I was like, nope, can't do this.
Why?
You know what?
You didn't catch the wave,
Something
man?
about body surfing just
Oh.
is calling my name,
Mm.
Okay.
and boogie boarding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that.
The good old boogie.
Honestly, Puerto Rico, their wake was just, it was so rough, and like all the spots down there were just like not like, you know, when you go to a beach in like California, there's like a lot of sand.
Yeah.
In like Puerto Rico, you like come off a surfboard and there's just like sharp rocks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that you went there.
I went there for spring break last year.
Oh, dope.
Cool.
Awesome.
Together with a bunch of friends?
I went there with 3 buddies, one of my roommates and 2 of our other really close friends. It's actually a crazy trip. It was right after that hurricane. So we had
Oh.
everything planned
shit.
out, and then
Whoa.
that came through, and we were like, what are we going to do? But we still just
Went.
went for it. And we didn't, like, go to San Juan and, like, stay there. We, like, landed in San Juan, rented a car, drove to the other coast, like, in, like, the rural area in Aguadilla, which was just awesome. But, like, we would be on roads, and then they're just, like, covered in trees
Whoa.
type stuff. And, like,
That's
crazy.
gas was
inconvenient.
still really high because everyone was just, like, stocking up on stuff. But
Mhm.
couldn't recommend going there anymore. It was one of the chillest areas. Met a lot of great people there too. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Where else have you been besides that in China? I don't really want to call you Puerto Rico Tommy, though.
That's fine.
Too
That's-
many
that's
syllables.
long.
Yeah.
That's way too long.
Yeah.
But Puerto Rico, geez, California a bunch, Utah, Colorado, Vegas, China.
Hey,
Until China, I hadn't been out of the U.S. because Puerto Rico is technically
It's a territory.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
technically something. I still don't even know what exactly to call it. Even
Yeah.
though I've been there. But actually, I did go to Canada one time. I drove over the border from
Okay.
Detroit to a town called Sandwich, and I ate a sandwich there
That's
and
so
then
cool.
drove back.
Did you take a picture?
Yeah,
Good.
They didn't stamp your passport?
they did. No, I forgot to ask on the way in,
Oh.
and then I asked on the way out, and they're like, "You're going to fucking." United
You're going to your
States."
home
Why would I
base.
say? Why would I say if you
We're
go
going
into
to
your home
stamp you for
country?
good
That's
job going
funny.
home? Or?
Yeah, yeah,
That's funny.
exactly.
Buddy.
That's actually really funny.
Whoa.
Damn.
Yeah, but it's crazy, man, like figuring out, and I know Will was talking about that a little bit, like you guys were talking about a bunch of crazy different questions, and then like Kai was like, all right, Will, like what are you doing for the next 5 years of your life?
Oh my gosh.
I was like listening to that, and I was like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
throw it on him.
Yeah.
But I resonate with what you were saying, because I literally started using Google Calendar like 2 months ago,
Dude, it's
and
awesome.
now it's like my whole life is planned.
It's wild.
That
Yeah.
app changed my life.
Kyle sent me so many texts today.
I'm sorry.
Like, no, it was fine. I was literally like, every time I checked my phone, there was like a really deep text from Kyle, and like
Jesus.
I didn't reply to a lot.
It was an emotional.
Oh my
morning.
god! So like I woke up to what was the first one you said? I woke up to something like that just took me by like storm. Like I was like, what are you trying to?
I said life is
You're like-
short.
You're like, Julie, we gotta look at the big picture. Like college is just nothing. And
It's just
he was
a
like, can we?
chapter.
I want to live in a better city with you. And I was like, okay, I guess that's happening now. And then he's like, I'm gonna laugh. Podcasts are basically just like conversations where somebody isn't present. And I was like, okay. I don't know what you were trying
People
to say.
were randomly texting me like.
Were you like
starting-
high or something?
No,
like,
no, no.
It sounded
It
like.
was like
And
10 a.m.
I was like trying to get shit done. And I was like, oh yeah.
yeah,
you're
dude.
right.
Whatever you say, man.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny because I want to live in a different city than you. and-
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be
But,
fun.
like-
but you're trying to get me to move to LA, and
I'm not trying to get you to move in with me.
You're
I'm,
being stubborn. You won't move.
I
anywhere
want
else.
to go to LA.
No.
You can do your thing. If
I
you
was
come move
like-
in, that's fine.
This is how this conversation went. I was like, I know you really want to go to LA, but I want to go to New York. Let's spend the summers in New York and the winters in LA.
And I was like, why?
And she's like, why? Why don't we just spend the summers in LA and the winters in New York? I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Then we'd have to face the winter, and none of us like the winter. And she's like, well, then let's just do the full year in LA. And I'm like, no.
Why would you not want to do summer in California? I don't want to go to New York, so you can go.
Oh,
I think Kyle's trying to leverage the weather.
yeah.
Yeah, he is.
That's why you just don't go to New York.
No, but it's
No.
so good.
Okay, I mean, I know, but like, I don't want to. I'm sorry.
If I get two of your best friends to go, will
I
you
don't
go?
know what you're trying to do right now.
What?
I'm gonna get her little sister and her best friend Madeline to move to New York with me. And
I'm gonna
then
get her whole family to move
there's
out
just
there.
then there's just gonna be a convenient fourth room, and we're gonna see what she does.
Okay, we'll cross that bridge. I guess we'll cross
Let me,
that big
yeah,
bridge.
yeah, Kyle, let me
when
know.
we get-
Oh,
yeah. So that was my morning. Was Kyle trying to like make our 10-year plan, and I like don't even know what I'm doing after college, but that's cool.
I think
Yeah.
it's fun though. I think that's a big goal of mine is to be able to like establish myself right after college to the point where I can host some good friends of mine if they want to leave the city that they currently reside and go to the one that I'm at. I think that'd be fun.
That's
Definitely.
Feel
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I want to just go back. So, like, I like Ohio for. for
I've
4
put in
years.
my time.
Yeah, I put in my time. I'm ready to go. I think it made me appreciate home more too.
Is it the weather?
That's a big part of it, actually. I really can't do like.
So did you like grow up with no snow until you were like 7 or
What?
something
I
like
had
that?
there's never snow.
Yeah.
So
W-
like
wasn't
my
there
first,
the other day
There
actually?
was like for a minute. There
I
was,
saw
like, a
that
little ice
Snapchat
chip.
highlight, and like all these people in LA were like outside, like, oh
I don't know what. Yeah, that was weird. That happens like once every 10 years, where like slush will just like fall down for like 30 seconds and everyone flips their shit. But
That's
yeah, no,
funny.
the first. I mean, my family would go to Big Bear a lot, which is like northern-ish, and they're known for like having like all those ski places and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
But they have a
for
lot of
sure.
fake snow. It's not like
just
like
palms.
storms like here.
Right.
So the first like real
some
snow I
powder.
saw. What?
Just some proud.
Yeah. So the first like
Yeah.
actual snow I saw was here when I was like 17 auditioning to get into where I am. So
Right.
yeah, that's a huge. I don't like it that much. It's kind of cold and like not fun, and it like limits what you can wear, and I don't like that either. So there's that.
Things that we wanted to talk to Tommy about.
I know that podcasting was one.
Podcasts.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about
do you
podcasts, man? You said you were a huge podcast fan.
What does that
I'm
entail?
a podcast guy.
I mean, obviously, you listened to the first 3 of ours before you came here. You came well
I know,
researched.
yeah.
Love that.
Well, and I listen to a lot of other podcasts today besides yours.
That's
it's
good.
like it's like sometimes I just need to substitute music with like I always have to be listening to something like I always like you see me walking around ever I've got something in both my ears, But I don't know. It started when I was like in middle school, and like I loved watching Pardon the Interruption, like the sports show, if you've ever seen it. And they were like always at the end, they were like, yeah, follow us on whatever and download our podcast. And it was like 2009. I'm like, what the hell's a podcast? So I downloaded it and listened to it like every night before I went to bed for like 2 years. And then like I found out there were other podcasts. So I've just always kind of like, you know, listened to a couple of different ones and, you know, just love good conversations. So it's nice to fill your ears with some like good information like that, not just fucking Blueface Tatiana every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's been fun.
But yeah, I mean, I'd like to start my own down the line when I have like some more time and like get settled in somewhere. But looked into it a lot and just love listening to podcasts.
What would you want to, if you started your own podcast, what would you want it to be about?
That's $1 million question, isn't it? But I don't know, just like almost just like an open format kind of like, and that's like the stereotypical kind right now, but I don't know, I just think I could play with like the structure of a podcast a little bit and just like try to put a little twist on it to where it's like different than everything else you hear, but and just like you have to be able to find like cool people to talk to, so would obviously have to work on that. But I'm curious with you guys, like what are some of like the main like things you guys like focus on, like trying to get like Homie Academy a little bit more popular and like starting out and everything?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What do we do?
I mean, as of right now,
Should
episode
we just talk
3,
about the process?
we don't. I mean, I feel like we could be doing a little bit more.
We definitely
We
could.
could be so much more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could be doing.
We
we could be
could.
doing more.
And it
But
all
we're
comes
also
out.
like, we also have stuff in our lives.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard.
And that's what
Yeah.
the hardest
Trying
part
time.
is like
Time.
with anything is just being able to dedicate it.
Totally.
a
And this
good chunk of
totally,
time.
it totally started off as a hobby,
Yeah, now
It's
it's a
still-
full-time job.
but
No,
it's
I'm kidding.
fun. I mean, it's really fun.
I really enjoy it.
No, I do too. It's.
I
a
think
great
that's
time.
what the most important
Yeah.
part is.
No, I'm like
Yeah.
excited for it when we do it.
It was really
Mhm.
fun because there wasn't a whole lot of hesitation either. When I
No.
think Julene was the one who brought it up.
It
was it-
sounded like
Oh, it was
I don't- yeah, I
Will?
think
It was Will? I'm
I'm
so
pretty
sorry.
sure it was me.
I have
Will
no
kind of
idea.
invented the whole.
I have no
Kind of
idea.
the whole idea
I'm
of the
so
podcast.
sorry.
Take credit, though.
No, I think it was you who started it.
Yes,
And we
I was
talked
like,
about that.
We should have a podcast.
Yeah.
And we all like simultaneously were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It was,
Didn't
there
even
was
question
no
it.
questions asked.
Yeah.
We
But it's
just
been
do it.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
been fun.
So far, we've been able to invite some of our
Yeah.
close friends.
We got like a
And,
system going. We were fortunate to have like a place to record, which is like
Huge.
that works.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's probably
If we had an
one of the-
FAQ, that would be the first one.
Yeah.
Where do you record?
in the studio.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Super ambiguous.
I mean, that's like $1,000
yeah.
right there. Like if
Yeah.
I wanted to start one, I don't have
Yeah.
anything. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you did in the next year, hit me up because I have to get hours. So.
That's funny.
But like, yeah, that and then what do? We cut
Made a
it,
list.
edit it. You made a list?
We made a list of
Oh, we did.
all the people we wanted
Oh,
on.
we're talking, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a list of should we just say a random number? There's a list of 400 people.
That
I've
are
seen the
begging to
list.
be on
It's
our
quite the
podcast.
list.
Yeah,
It's
it is
like
a
a good
it is a
15.
decent. No, it's way more than that. It's
Probably
it's
25.
15 serious.
True.
well
There's
that's
a
the
lot of
thing.
jokes.
Kyle showed me the list
some
at
goofs and gaps on there.
tacos the other week, and I like how you guys have like a couple little blurb comments next to
Oh,
everything.
Yeah.
It's just
You
like,
kind of gotta sell your case a little bit.
yeah, exactly.
It's like, please.
It was just funny to
Cool
see like in
friend.
your terms. It was like China Tommy, like good stories, chill vibes. And I looked at that and I was like, honestly, I'll take that. That's great.
It's better
I'll
than
run.
nothing.
Sounds like my whole resume summed up in
There you
one
go.
sentence. So
Yeah, that's funny. And they both were like, at this point, me, Will, and Julene have established this trust where they're like, yeah, we've never met China Tommy, but he sounds cool. Let's just roll
Yeah,
with it.
it's kind of the same for Will's friends too. We just kind of go with it. Like
Yeah.
I trust that
Yeah, take my word
everyone has good friends.
Yeah.
Have we ever talked on here about how we got the name of the podcast? I don't recall.
I don't think so.
for it.
I honestly don't know.
Have we? China Tommy?
I feel like we
I have not heard it.
I feel like
Then
you
we
would
haven't.
remember.
Definitely got
Okay.
it
I
out.
would know. I've got a
Well,
great memory.
We knew we
forgot
wanted the
one
word homie in it because that's kind of Kyle's like catchphrase.
Yeah.
And then we found a little podcast named Generator on the old
It's
Google.
kind of like the Wu-Tang name generator.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, in some kind of weird way, we got our name the same way like Donald Glover did. So
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
You gotta
so
love that.
I'll take it.
basically-
You have
yeah.
to love that.
Yeah.
It was
That's
really
huge.
funny.
Yeah.
We typed in homie.
typed in homie and it was like the 30th one.
Homie Academy, you're like,
Second
ah.
page.
What-
Second
what-
page.
What was it almost?
Oh.
There was a lot.
Yeah.
Liability was one because we call him Lyle sometimes. That's his
Right.
like alter ego.
Right.
Yeah.
And originally, this podcast, we were just gonna make fun of Kyle and roast him for like an hour every episode.
Literally.
Yeah.
We do
So-
that a little bit now.
Yeah. And what was the Lyle? What was Lyle?
I liked-
Lyle?
I
Lyle
liked-
and error.
No. Okay.
That's a good.
Little plan.
Lyle and Aaron.
Lyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the podcast was called Lyle. Like the name of the note was liability.
It
for-
still is.
It still is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
So that
still
was the OG.
Remember when I totally just disregarded all of that and wanted to call it WKJ Radio?
Yeah.
It
What
was
did that
it was
stand
a
for?
close
Just our
second.
initials.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Kyle and Julene.
But
Yeah,
it yeah.
yeah,
It's okay. It was
that's
a good try.
awkward.
Homie Academy works, I think.
It's
I
perfect.
think it
It
does.
it's a all-encompassing.
Yeah.
name.
I just got chills.
And we can call our fans learners.
I thought it was
I
just
mean, I
homies.
definitely felt
No,
a part
we're-
of it right when I
Aw.
saw. I was like, I know I'm a homie
You're
because
a
I already
homie.
heard Kyle say it a good 10,000 times.
Yeah.
That's so
He
funny.
says
Try
chief a lot too.
Try to
Sometimes.
tell me seriously though. What I love about this is that we met kind of in a forced interaction, and you analyzed me better than anyone else on that trip,
I would like
and
to
you
talk about that.
immediately knew what I was about
I did.
right off the
Can
bat.
can you elaborate?
And what's funny is all the same
Ooh.
things that Will and Julene make fun of me for, you did, but like within just a week of knowing me.
Right.
Actually,
I'm very quick. Yes.
What?
I got a good. I think I got a pretty good question. I want to know your first impression of Kyle,
Oh.
because I think that's completely
Oh,
different
no.
from the three of
Yes.
us here.
Oh no!
Oh man, I'm trying to pinpoint the first time our eyes locked.
Across a crowded
Because
room.
we had obviously we went to China and man, this is gonna
Oh
be
my
funny.
God, this is so
We
cute.
went to China. We had like these like pre-meetings where we like tried to learn Chinese in like 2 weeks. I never
It
saw
was
you.
no
Like, I
2
didn't
weeks.
see you until we were in Beijing.
It was learn Mandarin in 6 hours.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't at the first one, so I was just a lost cause.
It's the
Yeah.
hardest language in the world.
It was
She just
literally
comes through and ran through every word in the Chinese dictionary in 3 hours, and they were like, "You guys are good now."
Do you remember the phrase that I kept saying?
Oh my God!
It was
Don't
so
tell.
bad. It was so bad.
Oh, something about a monkey.
Oh,
You literally said it everywhere.
I know I did.
It doesn't mean like there's a monkey in my pants. or
I-
something like that.
no,
It's
no.
like, no. He was just saying whatever the word was. It meant there's a monkey. So he was going everywhere in public places. And China's like so dense, so there's always a million people around you.
Mhm.
And Kyle's just screaming, "There's a monkey! There's a monkey!" And like, he would just look at people like turning around left and right, and just like see who was like reacting to him saying it. And it was like the most
What?
comical thing.
Kyle was probably
What?
so
There you go.
happy with that,
Yeah.
like giggling.
We were on the
full prankster.
Hotz's monkey, and we were
That's
on the
what it
Great
is.
Wall of China. And sorry, we were on the Great Wall of China, and I was just screaming it. And the funniest
Hotz?
thing was that
What's up?
Hotz? What a Hotz I know. And it's like where's your it's where's my monkey?
Yes, that's what it is. What a hood
The
designer.
man with the yellow hat from Curious George. That's you.
And I would go. We were running the Great Wall of China, man, and there was these old people, these old Chinese people
So I
that
just
like
took advantage of them,
dude, no,
fucking with them.
They were just
My monkey.
Yeah,
They're
China
like-
like really respects their elders, so I just fucked with them.
no. They were so nice, but
They were just
They were
searching
so
for
easy to
Kyle's
fuck
monkey.
with.
they were just so old, and they were climbing the Great Wall, and I would just be this. No. I would just they would be curious because they've like a lot of these people don't see Americans a whole lot
Oh my
running
God.
around being dumb.
Yeah.
And so that's us, and we're just running around. Like I look over, and I look at them, and I stare at them in the eyes, and they stare at me, and then I look over the edge, and I go, "What the hell, Zainar?" And they're like, "What the fuck? He's looking for a monkey?" And then I would leave, and they would like wait for me to go, and then they would look over the
Yeah,
edge.
exactly. Everyone believed you.
Oh my God.
That was the only thing you knew. So you had
And
the
I-
dialect so down. They were like,
I'm
"This
probably
kid's got a monkey
butchering it now,
somewhere."
but I knew how to say it
Oh
then.
my
And
goodness.
our
Kyle.
remember who was it? Who was our professor that went?
Nugent,
No.
BJ?
China
BJ,
who? China John?
Chun.
China no, what?
His name was John, but I called him Chun.
No, oh. He was there. He was teaching us the alphabet at the zoo.
No way.
Yeah.
Aw, imagine Kyle
And you
like
still
learning the
couldn't learn
alphabet
it
at the
then.
No. I felt bad.
But back to Will's original question about first time.
First
No,
moment.
we could do that all fucking night. But God, crazy times. But first time I met Kyle, we were in Beijing somewhere, like a kind of solid kid, whatever, getting through the airports and like we're getting settled in. I think from what we were talking about earlier, like the first time we had like a real like time where like I got to know you was at this soccer bar. And we were staying on this this university campus in Beijing at like a student house, whatever. And there's like a bar on campus, and we were like walking up and down to see where we were gonna eat. And we go to this bar, and they were playing like Hong Kong versus Beijing, like rivalry soccer games. Like it's like packed. Like we can't even get a seat in this bar. Damn. And we end up grabbing one, and like there was like 4 or 5 of us, me, Kyle, a couple of the other guys, and. The game ends, people start like filling out, and we're just like down in beers, like whatever. And we start playing this card game where it's like if like 2 people turn over like a card and like one of them is like has a pass and the other one has to tell a story. Or no, one person gets to ask a question and the other person has to tell like a story like on the spot. And I just remember we were at the soccer bar.
What a damn good icebreaker.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And all I remember is that Kyle had to answer like 6 different questions, and the questions weren't easy.
Oh no!
Everyone was a little bit housed, and like after that, my first nickname for him was Kylefornia, because as I mentioned, I'd been to San Diego, and like I'd be like Kyle, he'd be like Beria, turn around, like just the most California guy, and like I'd been out there enough to like recognize it and like know a dude with Cali roots when I saw one. So like every time I saw him, like I'd call him California. Like
that's crazy.
And that was like our back and forth.
Oh my God.
Sure that you guys hit it off about that.
I mean, yeah. Well, should I tell my story now?
Okay.
I met Kyle at training for our current job, and I remember that he talked about living in the Bay Area, and I talked about living from California or from like wherever my area, and then we were like, yeah, and we totally hit it off. Bonded. Great connection. I was like, me and him. I'm gonna exaggerate the story every time. Me and him are gonna be best friends.
We're gonna start a podcast.
We're gonna live together sometime in the future. We're gonna move out.
But then, so it turns out, so then we end up getting
in New York.
With a house in Portland.
Yeah.
I can just tell.
I see it in his eyes. I felt that.
Yeah.
Turns out he did not. We get placed in the same area for a job, and I mean, I still thought we were hitting it off at this point. I thought we were like totally cool. We were friends. But about like a month ago, I found out that Kyle was paying little to no attention to me whatsoever, and I was like tapping on his shoulder, trying to be like, "Hey, California kids over here."
How did this story even happen?
Because you were saying like when we first started our job that you wanted to be friends with Will and Amez.
Yeah.
You just wanted to be like their best friend because they were funny, and then
they
you were like,
so cool.
Oh, and
have you heard this?
There.
I was so sick. Yeah, I know this.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So that's the story with that. Is that Kyle didn't want me there.
And there's a picture that I have on my phone of one of the first group pictures we have of everyone in our job, and there's like me taking the selfie. There's like Will and Amez, proud, standing there, just gleaming with joy. You're barely in the picture.
You're trying so hard to get in the frame.
I don't know when down the line we
the
got
tips
close.
of your toes, just trying to get in this selfie.
That's so funny. You said you wanted to like hang with Kyle.
Yeah.
The first time I saw this kid, I wanted nothing to do with him.
Couldn't agree more.
Oh no!
I've never told.
That doesn't explain like the dynamic of this group.
I've never told anyone this, but like.
No, I've never heard this.
Oh my God! Please do share.
Oh, no.
Okay, so we had like a group chat formed of like all of our like new coworkers for our job training, and Kyle was like the first one to show up. He was like bright and early, and he was like hits up the group. Hits up the group me like super early. He's like, "Hey, where's everyone at? I just got here." And I was like, "All right, this kid." And then unsolicited selfie of him by himself waiting for everyone else, and I was like. I was
Kyle could be wrapped up in unsolicited selfie.
Unsolicited selfie is the best thing I've
I literally
ever
had my phone out. I turned to this girl I was hanging out with, and I was like, yo, fuck this guy.
Oh, my God. So before even meeting him in person, you hated...
I was like, I can't.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if I can, like, be around this kid.
I thought I was the first one to get anything out of our mailbox. So I took a selfie.
You're like, here's our mailboxes.
Yeah.
I was
no one else gives a fuck.
And I was like,
it
dude,
was
I
so
don't-
bad.
Yeah.
You're there like a day early. Like, I'm not even supposed to be there now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see us right now.
Aw.
Damn.
When did it hit you that he was different and like great? If it hit
If
you?
it
About
has,
2
Yeah.
months ago.
let's assume it
like
already has.
last Monday.
Probably once the school year started.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool, dude. I just didn't know. Okay, no. Actually, I know exactly when I started liking him.
Okay.
Oh, this is so funny.
What'd I do?
We were in the middle of like this training thing. Just as some lady was up, just talking to us, and it was really fucking boring. And I remember like trying to pay attention because I was like still kind of new, so I didn't want to like be slacking off or whatever. And this girl's talking, and like every so often, Kyle just goes into my ear and just says a number. So like this lady's talking, and then all I'd hear like from the side of me, he just goes 21. And I realized Kyle is counting every time this girl says like or
But he didn't tell
But he didn't
Will
tell
was
me.
doing that.
So it was just gradually the number just kept increasing.
Will was like, should be
And
scared.
I was like,
You eventually figured it out.
I figured it out, and I was like, this son of a bitch. I was like, I
Next
like
level
this kid.
genius.
Yes.
Kyle just does a boyish grin.
Yeah. That's when I was like, oh, I'm gonna like this
Aw.
kid.
Biggest pet peeve.
Yeah. I like complaining. So like once I saw you complain like that, I was like, I'm gonna get along with this kid.
On
Yeah.
brand.
Mhm.
That's
funny.
awesome.
That's
That's beautiful.
I've never put. I didn't know you didn't like me at first.
It was just that one
You're
picture, and I was like,
Wait, what did
dude,
you
really?
think of me? Did you not like me either?
I couldn't even remember your name.
Okay, cool. That's better than not.
What about me?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, we met at tacos.
No, I knew Tommy before.
Oh, that's right.
I knew Tommy
Whoa.
kind of before.
'Cause we ran into each other at a shindig, I believe.
Mm-hmm. It was like you were just a friend of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
Yeah, and I met you through that, and you're just a nice guy.
I'm pretty regular, pretty
Yeah.
standard issue.
Just a nice dude.
That's kind of cool. It's kind of like fate.
Yeah.
Who would
Isn't
have
it?
thought?
And
Like
here we
one
are.
day you'd all be
2 years later, here we are.
We are.
Yeah.
And sounds like we're all gonna end up in LA someday.
I guess
so.
we're all moving in together.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
God damn it.
I mean, I'm looking for a roommate, Julene. Should we get the party started? or
Get the little apartment in
or
LA.
what?
I don't want to go to LA.
You can't even get Kyle started on any idea.
I didn't know that you were like such a diehard New York person.
This is reminding me of when on the second day in China, Kyle told me I needed to go to Bonnaroo.
Oh no, yeah,
you
he did
really
that to
got
us.
the full experience
Yeah.
like so fast.
That's
When
what-
did the carrot thing come up? If it did
If
you
at
ever
all.
notice
Which thing?
just a carrot fetish? I guess.
I
There's like
don't
a weird-
have a carrot
There
fetish.
were no carrots in China.
I tried to
luckily.
find one so bad.
See?
You don't understand.
Okay, he had to
the one
suppress
that the one
Kyle's
that I
out at
found.
like 4 a.m.
You, no, you
Yeah.
don't understand. I went to every grocery store. That was the first thing I looked for, and I found one day, but it was not a normal
It
carrot.
was green. I remember.
It was there was no FDA in China, and that carrot
You
proved
got
it,
the
man.
CDA.
It was.
Chinese
Do you know what the FDA stands for?
Drug-Food Administration.
Yeah.
They just make it CDA.
There you go. Dude, that carrot was
Did you
weird.
take a
man.
bite?
No, it
Is
was
it
in the
just like
grocery
you
store. I
just-
didn't buy it.
You just like getting
Take a
better
bite, put it
eyesight,
back.
or
It was like
what's the carrot thing? bud?
imagine a carrot, but like a really pale white carrot, and like instead of just two
baby
ends
carrot?
and a stick, it's like got three.
That's
And
not
it's
a
all, like,
carrot. That's not a carrot. 3
morphed.
just stop
It
saying
said
Wait.
carrot.
Sounds like a ganoush.
Did y'all see any square watermelons, or is that a Japanese thing?
No, we did. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They
That's
just
what I
grow
thought.
them in boxes.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's easier for like.
Remember that
Packaging or
fruit
Easier for
store?
shipping
Yeah.
and everything. Yep.
Remember, we were
That's
in
cool.
Beijing, and we lived right by a fruit store. And every time we would go to class, they would tell us. We would skip by the fruit store, and I'd buy like a thing of watermelon or a thing of pineapple every day. And then on the third day, they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, don't get anything from that fruit store. It's known to give you food poisoning." And I'm sitting there 3 days and just
Pineapples deep.
10 boxes of fruit in.
That'll get you.
Dude, we ate some weird shit in China.
I heard you tell a street meat story.
I did the street meat store, yeah, with Hunter.
Ooh.
Shout out Hunter.
Shout out Hunter.
Yeah, our American guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
The only redheaded man in China.
The only one. I kept telling people about that trip that I would look at Hunter and I would just miss home. He was everything that embodied America.
Oh my
It was funny to be his roommate because I've never seen a dude that reads so many like Civil War books and like knows about Governor Phillips or whoever the hell that is.
Can you tell the story about how we were at the club one night
Oh man.
and what happened to him?
Yes.
What city was that
I can't
in?
tell that story. This was in Chengdu, in the Shenzhen.
Chengdu,
I'm
what
just making
up?
up words. Shenzhen province, Chengdu, Bribong.
Remember how
whatever.
you kept saying Chengdu, what up?
Yeah,
everywhere
it was
we went.
Chengdu. And we're all in Chengdu, and
Well,
it's like
you gotta understand. You gotta tell the hotel first.
we're all in Chengdu
Oh yeah.
at this hotel.
Oh boy.
Let the man speak.
we were staying in like it was like a Ritz Carlton.
Okay.
Like the gym on like the 7th floor was bigger than like LA Fitness.
Okay.
It was like stupid.
Dang. Okay.
And I don't know how or why we were up in there, but either way, so in Hunter and I's room, we were roommates. We had like this hotel room party when like everyone came up to our room, like everyone's like around the bathtub, like running water, like drinking Chinese beer. We went and bought like a bunch of bottles. Like we were going out tonight.
Okay.
Like it was on.
Oh, and the food there, dude.
Oh,
Oh,
biggest buffet you've ever seen.
it was
You just
amazing.
gotta, let me. I
I'm
got
sorry.
this
Yeah,
one.
I'm sorry. I can't
I was getting ahead of the game.
So we look up like things to do in Chengdu, and we're like, oh my god, there's a top 50 club in the whole world in Chengdu. So we make all the arrangements. I like set the whole thing up and send everyone the address. And it's so hard to navigate in China because you're a bunch of Americans. You have no idea where you're going, and you got to call all these taxis, and
Yeah.
the logistics stuff is a
We
nightmare.
couldn't call Ubers because we didn't have.
We didn't have WeChat. We couldn't
yeah.
upload Chinese credit cards or WeChat, so we
Yeah.
had to pay in all cash. It was a nightmare. Whatever. So we go to this club,
Mhm.
and we go to get in.
Yeah.
Turns out, if you're an American, you have to have your passport on you to get in.
Whoa.
So like
Why
half
is-
the
why
people
is
got
that?
in, half the people didn't. It was
That's
just
weird.
a nightmare.
It was such
Why
a
and like,
mess.
and I set the whole
Yeah.
thing up, and everyone was freaking out at me, like, "You didn't tell us." Like,
Why
where's your
is that? Do
passport?"
you know?
No idea.
Hmm.
I guess people probably fake fake state IDs and go
Interesting.
over there. I don't
Yeah.
know. Either way,
It was the only time I ever got ID'd that whole trip.
yeah. Well,
No one
that's what happens
ever-
when it's a
yeah.
top 50 club. I guess it was It was apparently crazy in there
So
from the people that went in.
It's not that you didn't plan it right. It's that we were conditioned to not think that we needed our IDs anywhere that we went.
We didn't need passports anywhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Either way, it was just kind of shitty. I felt bad. So we go to this other club. Everyone's pissed. So that means everyone's ready to spend money and get super smashed. So we go and we get all these bottle services. I tell the guy, hey, we just got to know over there. Like, we have all this money. Like, we need a table. Like, get everything going. And he's like, yo. And so we go to this. We get this table, and he brings out like the book of like bottle drinks, and we started looking like, what
Hell
are we
yeah.
getting? Everything's way too expensive. So we just get like the cheapest thing, which was like it was like a 40 proof brandy, whatever. So they bring us out the bottles, they bring us out the fruit tray, like the ice racks. Like, we're living large. And like they're throwing down like heavy EDM music. Like it was
Yeah.
literally like you were at like any other bar like in Atlanta or something, like
Right.
Yeah.
bumping. Long story short, the bar packs in. We were in there a little bit early. Everyone starts going to dance. We
Oh,
get
dude,
like
we
we get, like-
stormed that dance floor.
we were.
I don't think
I
that
was
was-
headbanging so hard
Yeah.
that night.
I don't think you
My
understand.
neck broke the next day. I will show you guys the video after that. I'm not kidding. I like found like these like 2 Chinese dudes, and they were
Oh
like
my God.
EDM, and I was like, hell yeah! And we just like wrapped arms, and we were just like
Oh my
thrashing.
God.
And then
I
my
don't
neck
think
didn't work
people-
for 3 days.
I don't think people normally dance.
No,
because
they
we-
didn't know. No one knew what they were doing.
The-
And like
the-
all of
the-
like the girls and guys we were with were like,
They're
were
just
doing our
moving.
thing, like
Yeah.
what we're used to.
And I
And-
think the 2 DJs, you remember, they brought us. They brought us on. They were like, oh, Americans
They get
dancing.
it.
Yeah, we need to get them
Exactly.
up here.
So we were going absolute ape shit.
Yeah.
Long story short, Hunter, redhead roommate with us.
Dude's built like an ox, too.
He's
fucking-
ex-football player, works at Honda, 6'3", 200 flat. Played football, had broken his ACL 3 times, and he broke it the 4th on the dance floor in Chengdu, China, jumping up and down.
That's crazy.
Whole knee pops out,
Oh, dang.
and we're all blacked in
Oh,
China at a
fuck.
club. So we started. The first reaction was we start taking pictures with them. He's got like
Was that
he's
your
got like
first reaction?
he's got like the ice bucket on his knee, and he's
Oh
like
my God.
smoking a cigarette in the club. Like everyone's like whatever, and then he like brings me aside. He's like, hey man, like yo, it's like actually probably like really broken. Like we need to figure out how to get out of here. So I get on Google Translate, go up to like their security guards have guns like in the clubs. Like
No, they look like SWAT.
yeah, they're any
Security guards are
China
SWAT.
SWAT team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I go up to them and I'm like, we have injured man, exit, help. Just some terrible translation. And I'm like texting this dude back and forth, like translating it, whatever. Finally get 2 of these motherfuckers to get us some ice and call us a taxi. And we had to carry fucking Hunter out. And then
The rest of the trip,
was
he was
just-
on crutches.
I had to carry all his shit everywhere in China.
Oh
in the
my-
crowded ass
When
China.
was this during the trip?
Like
how far
right
along?
in the middle.
Oh,
Right in the
that's
middle.
rough.
So
that's
like
rough.
it's 2 a.m. and like the main professor, he's like the dean of finance, like honest with the trip, comes in,
Yeah.
waking up at 3 a.m. and he's like, all right, well, anyone else would get sent home right now, but you've broken it 3 times. If you want to stay, you can stay.
Oh my god.
And he stayed. I just had
That's
to carry
dope.
his shit. We got to skip all the classes for the next 2 days because I stayed with him. I get to sleep in this nice ass hotel.
Yeah,
we
food
got
was
room
Hell
service,
yeah.
all this shit.
That's so.
So
fun.
it turned out well for me, but the
Not for
kid,
him.
just got over that, and then he broke his arm two months ago.
Holy
He has a sling. If you haven't seen him in a
I
while.
haven't seen him.
Jesus Christ.
Poor
Yeah.
guy.
That's funny, dude.
But
Aw.
that was a gnarly
That
time.
was so fun, though. That night was so amazing.
That was absolutely gnarly.
I feel bad for him, but
Yeah, it
That
sounds
was
like he
fun.
had a shitty time.
I added those DJs on WeChat.
Oh man,
That was
yeah.
funny.
I told him Happy Chinese New Year a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I want to go back, so
that's
I
funny.
got to keep the
What's
connects.
I want to hear this question now, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, we're getting deep now? We gonna
Oh,
dive
this is
in?
a deep one? This is a deep dive? Do I need my scuba gear?
This is an unrelated question, but just a question, just a quick question
Okay.
before
Okay.
the question,
Whoa.
Okay.
which is
Okay.
way too overhyped.
Okay.
I'm like
it's
terrified.
gonna be.
How does the Homie Academy feel about any like conspiracies? Like, are you guys good?
Whoa.
We
Is
getting
that-
Joe Rogan right now?
Oh
Okay.
man,
Seriously?
Oh, man.
Jeez, what beats? You ever hear about apes?
Are you
Jamie's
talking
Have I?
ape theory?
No.
No.
Conspiracy theories? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well,
Oh,
I
boy.
got into.
Julene had a reaction.
I went down a rabbit hole about
This is
maybe
what we
I
love.
think I know what you're going to
2
say,
to
but
3
keep
months
going.
ago. There's 2 things.
YouTube
Okay.
rabbit holes. My
Moon
favorite.
landing being fake and 9/11 being staged.
What?
Okay,
Where
it's
are we
both.
now?
I'm not saying that that's what I agree. I'm just saying I got like I didn't even really know those theories existed, and I was like,
Isn't that
And then-
wild? Just that?
Yeah.
Like,
the
thing
fact
in
that
general?
yeah, and then I like watched all these videos that were like very convincing, and they were made to be very convincing, and I know that, and I'm not gonna be gullible, but I was just like, it made me for like a quick second be like,
Oh.
Julian,
but
See?
I'm going to stop.
Will's gonna stop me. No,
I'm gonna
that's
stop you
not
right
to
there.
say that like I still believe the moon.
Do you know
landing
how
was
much I
real
thought
and
she was
9/11
gonna say? She's a flat earther.
No, you know what else? You know what I was thinking she was going to say?
What?
I thought she was going to go into the Avril Lavigne conspiracy theory.
Actually,
Oh
I
my
don't believe
God.
that one. I
Okay.
no.
What is
You
that
you
one?
believe that?
I need
You
to
think
hear,
the
I
moon
need to hear
landing?
this real
9/11
quick.
is
You think the
I
moon
don't
landing's more
believe the moon-
probable?
No, I think the moon landing was real. 9/11's real.
Okay,
I
thank
just
you.
thought it was. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there that made me think.
I need to hear this Avril.
The Avril Lavigne one is it's kind of like the Paul McCartney conspiracy theory that she died and then a replacement came in and took her spot.
What?
Yeah, you never heard the Paul McCartney one?
No.
Will show me the Paul McCartney one, and I remember like having full body chills and like not being able to
Dude.
sleep.
I did a whole like presentation about the Paul McCartney one freshman year.
What?
Yeah, you never heard it?
It's crazy. It's
So Paul McCartney, he died in a car accident like 1964, and they got a replacement through like a Paul McCartney lookalike contest, and you could like they would have like side by side pictures of like how his face has like changed, like his nose, like the structure of his face is like different, and then how his voice
Wouldn't
is
like
different.
the girls or the boys, like the people around him, wouldn't they notice?
The Beatles, they're in on it. They like wanted to keep the band going, so they grabbed him and they're like, "You're Paul now."
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, but see, the thing
That
about
is wild.
there's like the what are the-
Number 9.
yeah,
What's
number
the song
9.
called?
It's called. I think it's called.
Revolution number 9.
Yeah.
Revolution Number 9. If you play it backwards,
It's like them saying Paul is dead.
it sounds like it says Paul's dead, and then
Oh, I've heard that.
and then the album covers for like Abbey Road have like signs, and then the cover for
Sgt. Pepper.
Sgt. Pepper's has like a bunch of signs.
Oh
It's,
my God.
It's really,
I'm so stressed.
it's like super deep.
It's so
and
believable.
if you ask Paul McCartney about it now, he gets like super upset about it.
He's
Are you
probably
serious?
so fed up.
No, he's like
"What the fuck is
he
this?"
gets like really annoyed by
But
it.
it's so believable.
It really isn't.
Will.
There's a lot of different signs,
That's
but
a lot
like
to process.
it's a lot. It's just a lot of like reaching for like
Yeah.
stuff and like looking for like hidden meanings and stuff. and like I don't know why they'd want to like try to like tell
I
you
don't know.
secretly.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
why.
exactly why it's
why they would
Yeah.
say like Paul is
But
dead.
it's really interesting how like some people have like found so many different things about the Beatles as the years like went by that
Yeah.
like showed little signs along the way.
That's interesting.
question.
Yeah, but the same thing about Avril Lavigne is like that, but like more up to date,
Yeah.
Oh,
more
sheesh.
recent version.
Has anyone heard of the Mandela effect? I got really big on that too.
You got big on the Mandela
What?
effect.
Yeah.
Wait, I
Tell me
did
what
hear
that
about
is
this.
again.
Yeah, tell me.
Well, it started the whole like the conspiracy stuff started when Nelson Mandela died or didn't die. So like half the world, like it was on this forum, and like half the forum believed that like Nelson Mandela died. They remember his funeral, they remember specifics about it, and then the other half is like no, like he never died, like
People
he's still
thought he
alive.
died while he was still in jail.
Yeah. And people were like remembering like the same details and like all this stuff. And then like other things, like there's just other things in the world that exist where like some people remember it one way and like other people remember it another way, whether that's like the logos of brands or like the spelling of brands, or like the one that got me was you know the saying like okay, so if I said like blank blank on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, what would you say?
Mirror, mirror.
Right. It's not. It's magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. But you don't like hear, like I can hear her say mirror, mirror. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And there's the same thing with the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood theme song.
And the Star Wars,
Star
like,
Wars,
Luke, I'm
yeah.
your father, or whatever.
Mhm.
He
What
never
else
s-
is
he
it?
He never says it like in the movie.
There's like
Yeah,
a
he does.
just Google.
No, he doesn't.
No,
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't. No,
does.
he
No,
doesn't.
he doesn't, dude.
He does not.
He never says, Luke, I am your father.
Yep.
What does he say then?
He says, like,
Luke.
he doesn't even say Luke.
He doesn't say Luke. It's like something
No
else.
bullshit.
Okay, when after like
We can
post
look it
up.
podcast,
Jamie.
Dude, no, like, look it up.
Jam.
look up Mandela Effect like YouTube videos, and there's like a list of
Yeah.
stuff, and like you just have to look it up. Like logos of like candy, you think it's one thing, and
It's
you're
like
like, yeah, that's right.
It's like the
and then you're
Yanni
like,
and
no.
Laurel thing.
No,
yes,
it's not.
But not.
No, it's not.
Yes, but
No, it's not.
Like
Which
that.
was definitely Laurel.
I heard Laurel.
No, the whole, like, theory's base is
hear
like,
What's
There's,
funny
like,
is
different
I think I heard
dimensions.
Yanni.
and
What?
people have, like, gotten into, like, different dimensions
Mm-hmm.
that have, like, led to those events actually happening in that dimension.
Did you
And-
see the
and then they'll
landest
call
Black
back.
Mirror?
No, I haven't.
Bandersnatch?
Bandersnatch?
Oh,
Oh,
Dude,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I've seen
Oh, yeah,
Bandersnatch.
yeah.
We're
yeah,
big
yeah.
Bandersnatch people.
No,
Well, I
I'm
s-
a big Bandersnatch person because every time I want to watch it again, they say no.
Because it's like a 4-hour thing.
It's so good.
I had to watch it 3 times because I thought I like had some drinks, watched Bandersnatch, and then like I fell asleep, and I think I had a dream about
Oh,
Bandersnatch.
no.
And then I
Oh,
woke
no.
up and I was just in a daze, but I think I was just hungover or
Well,
something.
Julene thinks that her life is the Truman Show.
Can you
So, like,
Really
Conspiracy
bad way to
theory.
introduce me to the
simulation
world.
theory?
so like,
Simulation
Simulation theory, like, I would actually hop on that.
the funniest
I
shit
might be
is
on.
that the
Whoa.
funniest shit is that Will has repeatedly told Julene, you're not
Special enough.
special enough.
Like, think about it. Out of everyone in the
Is
world,
that- is that why you guys are friends?
pretty much.
Because Will hates me? No. But I think I don't.
wait, why are we
think-
friends?
Wait, are we friends? Hold on.
I think friends hate each other the most.
Okay, that's fair.
Honestly,
Yeah.
So
I don't hate you guys. What the fuck?
Oh,
you
shit.
just love
That's
it.
embarrassing.
this is
Love
awkward.
someone
I'm
so
gonna go.
much.
Yeah.
But I don't think my life is the Truman Show all the time.
Oh.
However,
However,
comma,
I'm welcome to my TED Talk. I think I saw the Truman Show and I was like, that'd be really interesting if like I was the Truman Show and I was Truman. And like sometimes things will happen, like little things that I'm like, that could have only been planned. And so
Wait, like what? Give me an
I
example.
literally can't. Okay,
Yes, you can.
Think deep.
no, just like it's not even specifics. It's just like situations I'm in. I feel like are always more dramatic than they need to be, not because of me, but because of like everyone around me, and
Because
maybe
of
this
me.
is
Well,
just
maybe
I'm
your
the
friend-
problem.
They're just trying to provoke you on
That's
the
what
show.
That's what I think. I think like people are trying to create dramatic moments in my life, and like why would I have that many dramatic moments? Like not necessarily bad, but just like dramatic moments, and maybe it's for other people's entertainment. Also,
Maybe
this
it's just the people you surround yourself with.
yeah, but like, I don't know. I
Facts.
have really great friends though. I mean, and like just even
I
like
never knew this.
what?
So every time somebody tells you something dramatic, you're like,
That's
is this
not true.
getting filmed?
Am I on TV right
That's a
now?
good attitude to have.
No, but like, or sometimes you know, like when you get in the car and you're like having a bad day, and like you turn on the radio and like the perfect song comes on, you're like, how did that? Like, how did someone must have planned that?
Wait, hold on.
With
Who
all
was this
this-
to the radio?
All right, well,
Stop
I
right there.
I will every now and then.
Okay.
honestly.
It's something you got to. But yeah, no, I don't. I actually like don't all the time. But I love the Truman Show. Great film. And Bandersnatch really fucked with me because like that made me think so hard. And like
Black Mirror in general is
it was
crazy.
Yeah. Dude.
But if my other question was too big, I had another one
All right.
that I thought of earlier that's kind of encompassing on like a lot of the things you guys talk about.
Okay.
But something to the tune of like from your first day on college to where we all are now, like how do you think you've like changed as a person?
Oh, I was
Which
gonna say
think is like a good testimony to like anyone else like listening.
Yeah.
Everyone can relate to that.
we had a good question like this on the last podcast, and it was what could you change if
Mhm.
you could go back to freshman year?
Yeah.
So this is
Something
what you've
around that
noticed.
lane.
what we've
Yeah.
noticed. Interesting. I don't want to start.
I can start. In terms of like politics, I was very like I would listen to whatever like anyone around me was saying, and so like whether that was like with my family at home or when I got to college, like the friends I was surrounded with, and I never really thought. I just kind of like agreed with everybody, and so I would do things that like I didn't really know why I was doing, but like everyone else was. And then I think like sophomore year, I met a new group of friends that really challenged that like mindset, and so I think I've grown in terms of that, and I'm like I actually try to think instead of just like be a follower and like go with whatever everybody else is doing. So that's a good one. I'm proud of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think everyone like needs to have that sort of like moment or like time period where they were like, okay, now there's a shift in me coming in as this kind of person who quite frankly had no idea what the hell they were getting into, and turning into like something where there's like direction and an actual path to go towards.
Yeah, totally.
What about you, Will?
Ooh, okay.
Not too deep. Not too deep.
Not as deep as that last time. But I guess one thing I've learned is just to be more comfortable like with who I am.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Why? Elaborate.
How?
How did you get to that?
How did I get to that point?
It's very important. Very important point.
I think I became more just like self-aware of what I was doing, and I stopped caring what other people thought. I just wanted to do my own thing.
Oh, Will.
And I think that's really apparent to just like the stuff I wear now. I've like completely changed my style since like my freshman year of college.
Facts.
Huh?
That's awesome.
So facts.
Facts? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so just like being more comfortable with who I am and what I want to do, and setting those goals and getting shit done.
In my opinion, that might be the most like important like lesson you can learn in college.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people who don't figure that out, and they're just going to be stuck in their ways from day one and to the end. And like, it's weird, but like these are really the years that like form who you're going to fucking be for the next however many years, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retweet.
Yeah. I heard something like you either go to college to learn something or for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've gone way more just for the experience.
I
And I've learned some stuff along the way, which is cool, but I've definitely gotten more of an experience out of it.
agree. That's true.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting because I agree with that.
Yeah.
Either.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think you can learn a lot from college, but the thing that I've learned the most definitely is the importance of networking in the sense of like who you surround yourself really defines who you are.
Right.
And that's definitely something that I've learned recently, but something that I've been developing since the beginning of college. Just surrounding yourself by not only people with the same mindset, but people who are motivated, people who have good goals and aspirations.
Yeah.
The caliber of how much that can affect your life.
What's the saying? You're only the sum of the closest 5 people around you.
That's crazy.
Kyle, you're big.
Is that
Big
your
believer.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I like that. That's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. What about you, man? Trying to tell me.
Definitely agree with everything that you guys said
Yeah.
up front. I think for me it was like just establishing like how to like just live like each day a little bit better, whether that was like paying attention to what I was like putting in my body and eating and just like sorting some of that stuff out, and then just like feeling healthier, like having a good daily routine, like getting up much earlier and finding time to sleep in on the weekends or whatever, but just like learning how to balance everything and just really like be more productive. And I don't know, just like time management and just like working on living a better life, I think was very nice for me. But that's all I have left after what you guys said, which were all things that were on my mind.
Sounds like
as
a lot
well.
of self-care.
True.
Definitely.
It is a lot of
Yeah.
self-care.
Just
Heck
trying
yeah.
to.
Well, and
learn
also
how
it's
to
just
take
like
care of
you can like it's easy to learn from people you see and people around you, like what not to do, and like
Yeah.
some people will fill their time with just like a lot of nothing or a lot of just sitting and scrolling on their phone all day, and like you just if you're a creative person and like are forward thinking, you find time to like put things to the test and find some time to read or like get up a little earlier and go to the gym or something like that. Like
Kind
I
of
just
going
think
off what you
it's
said,
good
Kyle.
stuff.
Sorry to cut you off a little
No.
bit. You said stuff about self-care.
Mhm.
College is like the biggest time where you really only have to worry about yourself and just
Yeah.
improving
Yeah.
yourself.
That's true.
It's kind of like that LA mindset, but just everywhere.
A lot of people like
True.
really don't like do that stuff for like self-evaluate, and like it's hard to like be self-aware if you don't spend that time
Yeah.
to like think through some of the stuff that's going on
Mm-hmm.
in your life. And it's a weird concept to kind of like zone out like
take
of
a
your
step
mind
back,
and just
yeah.
like think like internally, and like
Mhm.
some people just don't get that. But
Yeah, I was watching a comedian, and I really need to start remembering which comedians say which things. But I was watching a comedian, and they were saying like, yeah, let's college. What a cool social concept. Let's put everyone in their like most attractive years, and then throw them in a room or throw them in a space where they're independent for the first time ever. Tell them the only thing they have to worry about is maybe showing up to class, and then just see what happens.
Literally most attractive and most vulnerable.
Yeah,
Mhm.
literally.
yeah. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I think there's definitely a difference in people that, have been able to say that they've done the full college experience and people who say they haven't. Not in a bad or a negative way by any means. It's just, it changes you
right.
You're
think
smart
it
in your
does.
own like individual sense of
completely.
getting the whole experience and then not getting the whole experience. So you're saving money one way, other way you're learning
Yeah.
a whole lot more.
Yeah.
It's just, it is a different experience.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But I think with that, we should probably wrap up.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's a good way to
Yeah.
end it.
Thank
Thanks.
you, China Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Tommy.
coming
Pleasure
out.
being here, guys. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I think it's interesting because you watched all the podcasts and you came with more questions prepared for us
No,
than we
you
had for
opened.
you.
If
So
you
Thought
see
about
me
our production.
anywhere, ask me if I have a notepad, and I'll probably show you one.
Okay. Damn. What
Always
if you
got it
pull
on
up?
me.
What if you flip up to a weird page in the notepad with some sketchy notes?
Well, the one I carry with me is just like write and tear.
It's like G-rated.
That's your
Yeah.
appropriate.
It's
That's your
it's-
appropriate
it's-
G-rated
notepad.
notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The diary's back.
I do. I have like 5
He has a
different
PG-13
size notebooks
R.
for all different things.
Oh, that's
It's
hilarious.
Categories.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, but definitely appreciate it. Definitely love what you guys are doing, and
Yeah.
Thanks.
hopefully maybe can be back. Or
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll definitely be listening. I'm a homie. I'm a learner.
Aw.
So
There we go. Oh,
Appreciate
That's
being on.
awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Well, thanks to all the listeners again.
Yeah.
Episode 6 coming at you.
Oh yeah,
That's
all.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's all she
7's up
wrote.
Sorry, I
next.
messed it up. I thought it was 5. It's 6.
It's all good.
You're
That's
good.
crazy.
You're good. It is. We did a podcast, Julene.
Can you do the thing?
Wanna do the peace chief again?
You have to know.
Peace, chief.